Yo. Okay, so let's go in straight to Alpha 5. Sorry, Alpha anyway. I keep calling it Alpha 5. Alpha 5 used to be the initial name before it was changed to Alpha anyway. So remember the concept of workspace. Your workspace is like your project folder. So you first of all need to create a workspace before you can use Alpha anyway. And you can also create multiple projects on a workspace. So I can decide to use an existing workspace and I can decide to create a new workspace. So we can use an existing one. So let's use this one, RDSF. Right, so for the workspace, you are going to see the list of your projects here, and it automatically creates the default project for you. So once you get into this environment, your first project is already added, and you can start adding controls on this first project. And alternatively, if you want to create a new project, you can come and add a new project from File menu. Right, but let's start off with this default project. Now, on the default project, we have things like web components, we have Alpha 5 pages, HTML pages, and the rest of that. Now, the most popular item that you would use on your menu list is your web component. Now, let's go to web components. Okay, so you have to click on new. When you click on new, it brings up the options for you. So on your web components, you can pick any of these options as well. So I want my web component. Okay, so based on your interaction, you have used the UX components. You have also used the grid components. Now the tabbed UI builder component is also useful on, I'm going to show you how to use it in today's class. It's very useful for arranging your controls, especially for a web application. So your tabbed UI builder is almost something like your UX builder. The same way your UX helps you to organize your controls into panel, that's the same way you can use the tab UI to organize your control into menu tabs for a web application. But let's start today with the login application. The login control. So Alpha 5 has a built-in login control that can assist you to create a login for your application without writing a single line of code. And this is very useful because many times when there's an application, people are also required to log in. And based on your login, you can have different views of the application. So for Alpha Anywhere, all you just need to do is to drag and drop and click to create your login for either a web or a mobile application. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then later on you are going to build a login over your application that you have developed so far. And if you are yet to practice, if you are yet to come up with your own application on Alpha Anywhere, I will advise you to do all that and also create a login login control over it, then we are going to look at that together, maybe on Saturday. So to create the login control, just click on your login. So this information, your login component comes with an image, and I'm going to show you what the image looks like just once it's created. But for the image, you can specify if the image should be on the left or if the image should be behind your login controls. You know, your login components will have username, password, then the button to click to log in. So let's just pick image on the left, then give your login component a name. We can just call it login. So once you see this message, just say okay. Initial backup, this is not necessary, so we can say no for this. Okay, good. So I'm going to show you what the login control looks like, and then we're also going to try to test the login. So without writing any code, it has created your login with all the controls in it. So you can just click the working preview to see what it looks like. So this is what a login looks like, and you can test the login. You can also create a new account for the login. So let's create a new account, but this is not going to work because they have not specified the details for where the login controls data will go to. But let me just show you. So you are just going to specify any username or password to it. Let's say I'm using an email. Okay, so just like I said, your login control has to be mapped to where the data is going to before you can create an account and before you can test it. But this is just to show you, first of all, how the controls would look like and what you can make out of it. So this is for image on the left. I can also decide to change it to image. Okay, so I can also change the image to image embedded into the controls. Okay, to do that, we have to recreate the login page. But okay, let's first of all map this login page into where the data is stored. And there are two ways. You can either map the controls to your database, or you can map the control to Alpha DAO database, which comes with Alpha anyway. So you already have an idea on how to map to the database. Just do your data binding from here. to your SQL or MySQL connection string, right? So once you bind it, right, it's going to work. But preferably, I usually prefer to use Alpha DAO connection. So to do that, we're going to use the web security setup from Alpha Anywhere. So instead of creating the components straight from web components, I'm going to allow Alpha 5 to create the component for me. So we're going to go now to web security. Then under web security, you set up the security configuration. All of this is just to set up within Alpha Anywhere your data and the tables for the login control. So go to security configuration, click on it, check that button, that security active, right? Then click on this other information, just check. So here you can specify that your user ID is by email address or by value. So, but if you specify email address, then it would not accept a user ID that is not in email format. So depending on your choice, but let's just leave it as email address for now. So this is for data recovery options. You can leave this the way it is. What I'll usually like you to check is just the login user ID and password options. Right, so this is fine, just say okay. Okay, so whenever there is the user is able to successfully log in, then it should redirect to a given page. So we need to set that here, but we're just going to pick the default. So redirect it after logging. So we're just going to okay, so we can come here so that we have a page for redirection. Let's cancel. No. Okay, so you can just create a blank page here, new AW5 page. Now, in these pages, you can write HTML codes. You can specify HTML, CSS codes, or you can just put in pictures as well. Right. So these are just normal HTML based pages. If you want to edit it, you can see the way it's written, just in normal HTML format. Right. So I can come here and just say, okay, my welcome page. Then you can also insert components into these pages to display a grid or a list, or maybe a tab control. But we are going to come back to this later. For now, let's just create a blank page. So once this is done, you save. We can call this our default page. Yeah, default. Or let's call it home page. So close this. So you have a page you can redirect to. So whenever someone is able to log in, you should come to this home page. So let's go back and set up our login control. So redirect page, home page. Okay, Okay, I should have created another page too. So another page that says insufficient permission. For now, let's leave it as own page too. Okay. Redirect page after login is not defined. Oh, okay. Password encryption key is missing. Set. So just use the default options. Okay, so good, we have that ready. Then we can create our login component from here. So create a login component for us. Yeah, so, okay, now let's use the other option of the image behind the login control. I have a previous login. I'm creating a new one, so I can just call this login. Data bind this. Wait, it's my okay. Yeah, so coming, we had created this earlier. Okay, so you can see that it displays differently compared to what you had before. And we're just going to test the login. Oh, okay. So let's do a remote test. Let's go back here. Let's do a live test instead. Okay, so to do a live test, we can do it on a page. So on this page, I'm going to come here and okay, now let me create an index page so that I can redirect it. So I'm going to create a new page and so in this new page, I'm going to just simply insert the login component. So this is the page with the login component. Okay, let's save the page first. This would be login page. Okay, so on my login page, I can insert my login component. Right, so it's going to display this way, but by the time you run it, it's going to display your login control. Oh, so we need to save this first. So we're going to click on save. Then we are going to go back to our web pages. So we can see this is our login page. So now if you want to do a live test, you click on live test and then you select the page you want it to load on default. I know someone was complaining that I couldn't do a live test. So before you do a live test, you must create a page, put in the components in there, and then it will display for you. Okay, so we can see the way it looks on our test. You can also change this image behind. You can change it to any other image that suits you. But then let's just run with the default image. So let's log in. Okay, let's go back to Alpha 5. Let me see the details I created on my web security. So let's go to users and group. Okay. So let's run the live test again. Let me close this and rerun it. Okay, let's create a new account. Okay, so new account is created. Now let's log in with this new account and see. My password is created. Something. Yeah. One, two, three, five. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is it saying password expired? Okay, so I need to check the settings why the password is expiring just on creation. But this is just the way to create a login into your application without you writing code. Let's go back. Let's see what could be going on. So we're going to go to web security and then go to security configuration. Let me hope I find why password is expiring. Okay, password expires. Let me uncheck this for now. So password does not expire. And say okay. Okay, so let me run the test again.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Ma, please, I have a question.
Yeah, please go on.
Okay, ma, what if you want to test like the app you just made? What if you want to test it on another system, and that system doesn't have the database? How would you do it?
Okay, so there's a way you have to deploy the application first, and then you can now call the application on another system that has internet connectivity with the URL. That's with
Okay.
the link.
Okay, ma.
Yeah. So I will show you how to do that
Okay, ma.
today, but just let me finish up with this login.
All right.
Okay, good. So you can see now that they're able to log in successfully, and then it came to our welcome page. So this is the welcome page. Now, let's put in some few things into our welcome page to make it look good. So let's create, let's just create a simple list, a list component, and then add it into our welcome page so that you can see how these things look like. So I can use my US control for that. Let's use UX and just bring in a simple list into it. Okay, so this is a blank UX component. You need to throw in a panel first. So I'm just going to put in a panel card. Now within my panel card, I want to put in a list control. So I'm going to say add control and then say list. I can pick a list here. I'll leave it at the default name. Okay, so my list is within my panel card now. So I want to put in data into my list. So I'm going to give it a default data. I can pick data from, instead of connecting to a database to create data, I can pick default data. This is just for demo sake. I can create data from Alpha 5 list of data. So on my static data, I want to use data that is not changing. I can create my own static data, or I can get sample data from Alpha 5. So I want sample data of just names and addresses. You can pick different sample data, but let's just pick one that doesn't have a lot of data. So let's just pick this one, names and addresses. Say okay. Okay, so once you pick your data, you need to specify it in the layout. So I can specify the first 3 or first 4. Right, so my list has some data in it now. You can check out what that list will look like. So this is what it looks like, right? I don't want this list label to show because it looks awkward. So I'm going to come back here and say under my list, field label for list, I'm going to remove the list name. So just take this out, say okay. So if you do a working preview, so every component has its own unique properties. So for you to play around those components, once you load them, so let's close. Oh, cancel. Let's save this first. I can call this customer list. Let's save. Yeah, most times it's better to just pick always allow. Yeah, then come back to design. And the reason is showing me that always allow or always deny is because I've set up login for my project. So for every component, it needs to know if the component requires that the logged in user has access to it. If not, it will make it invisible. So that's why you are seeing that. So now on that list, I've created a component now, my US component. So I want this to display on my own page. So I'm going to close this now. This customer list. So now let's go to our page. The home page, right? So under my welcome home page, I want it to display the components. So I'm going to come here and then set the components. So I can insert my customer list component, say okay, say okay, right? So it's inserted. Now, your Alpha 5 page allows you to write HTML. So if there are things you want to write using HTML tag, or you are very good with creating div and the rest of that, then you can do that with your Alpha 5 page. So let's say I want to put some designs around this or create some controls around this. I can come to where the source is and then throw in those HTML controls or div controls. So first of all, you need to identify your components. So this is your component, identify it. What you usually do is to select it from the what you see is what you get. That's the display. Select it from the display, come to the source, and make sure you do not tamper with it. Right. So for those who are familiar with HTML very well, you know that your HTML tags goes into where your body is. So this is the opening body and the closing tag for the body, right? And this is the control for your this is the control for your components, right? So you don't want to tamper with this, but you can train your HTML details within the body. So for example, here I can decide to do, let's say I want to put an heading in HTML. I can put an heading. Let's say I want to put my welcome page in an heading. But this is not for everybody, and you don't really need to bother yourself. But for people who want to write HTML tags for this, then they are welcome to do so. Sorry. So the closing tag for your H2 heading. So if you come back here, you'll see that it has changed based on HTML tag details, and you can put in many other tags. So this is your page. Sorry, we have to save this per save. Then let's close. Okay, so this is saved in our own page. Now let's go back and test and then see what will now be the content of our new home page. Remember that on your login page, that is the first page. You have only your login control there. Okay, remember I told you you can change the image of your login display, right? And you can even add more image as well. Same from the HTML source, right? From here, you can add a new image. Right, so let's see what this looks like by doing a test. So we'll do our live test again. And then we would click on the login page, which should be our first page. So I'm just going to log in. Okay, so this is the control that we threw in. This is the display mode. I'm not seeing the heading, so I need to check that. Let's close this. So we'll come back to our home page. Okay. Save. Yeah. Let's go back and test. Okay, I'm going to check this later why my heading is not displaying, but well, we are able to navigate our own page, and this is how we arrange controls on home page and then create a full-fledged application. Okay, so back to the question, let me answer the question that was asked a few moments ago. So if you want to do like a deployment of this, then you need to turn on your development server. So in my own case, my development server is already turned on. You usually find it somewhere at the top menu here. You have profiles, refresh, then development server. You can turn it either on or off, right? So when it is turned on, you can then do like a remote test. So a live test is on your local machine, but a remote test can be done on another machine or another mobile. So to do a remote test, you can access it from here. Then you pick development server, then you pick this option. Right. So by the time I click on remote test, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma, we can see
Hello?
it.
Okay. So when you click on remote test, it's going to give you three options on how you can get the link for your test. But because this is a free version, you can only test within your own IP. If you want it to be available for anybody to be able to test, then you need to do what we call hosting. And there are options for hosting, and that would come with a cost. So there are different hosts, what do they call them? There are different host ISPs that can host Alpha 5 applications. For example, Zebra hosting, for people who know about them, can host and then GoDaddy too. So, but this is just for developmental tests. And let's say you have a client who is willing and ready to pay for this, then you can just include your hosting fee, and then it's available for download. So, but for testing within your own IP, then you can use this remote test option. So here, I can say I should send the URL to my email, but preferably just use the default option of copy URL to clipboard, meaning that once it has done the publishing, you'll be able to copy and paste the URL. So I'm going to pick this option. Then preferably use the IP address option. This will display your IP address. Okay, so my IP address is dynamic, so this doesn't matter, but this kind of information is not something you should always show publicly. Or you can, yeah. So now, if you wanted to show a different IP address, then you click here. Many times our computer IP address is dynamic. So if you wanted to show the current IP address, you can click here, but then it will show an IP address on default. And then you can just say, okay. So it tells you URL has been copied to clipboard, and then you can just paste it. It will give you a long URL name. You can always shorten the URL using any of these URL shortener available online. But then let's just see what it has given us. So I'm just going to go to any editor and then paste the URL. Right. So this is the URL it gives, and you can share this URL with anyone within the range of your own IP address. You understand? So someone, even on mobile, this can be shared and tested, but they should be within the range of your how will I put it, of your laptop or of your desktop wherein you are developing the application. So this is how you can test it on a different device. So I'm not going to save this. Did I answer your question?
Okay, yes, ma. So if I'm able to copy that link and send it to maybe my friend, like when they open the link, could they be able to access like the mobile app I was able to make?
Yes, they'll be able to access it.
Okay, ma. Then that has answered the question.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So so with what we've learned today, you guys should be able to create a login page on your first mobile or web application. And now you are also aware on how to use Alpha 5 web pages. So Alpha 5 web pages just simply helps you in arranging components. and you can embed your components into Alpha 5 web pages, right? Then if you want to create, so your HTML page is just an option as well for Alpha 5 pages. So I can decide to embed my component as well into HTML page. So let me create a new one. Okay, so you see it's also displaying just like Alpha 5 page. Okay, let's even use this for okay, so let's write HTML tags here. So your HTML starts with your head, your closing head tag. So the difference is that here you need to write the HTML from scratch by yourself. I think the header also has title within it, so I can put a title. And call this my welcome page. So here I'm going to have body. So what I'll just do is that I'll put my components within my body, the HTML body. So to insert components, you just put your mouse at the location where you want the component to be inserted and then click on insert. Okay, so we have to save this first. Let's just call this so we'll use this instead. I want it to be within the body. So it says copy to clipboard. Let's see the live preview. Set again and see. Oh, okay. So when using this option, you have to copy and paste codes for 3 different sections, both the head section. So I'm going to copy the code for the head section and put it right in the head section, right? I'm also going to copy the one for the body section. I copied this earlier. Then I'm also going to copy, okay, this is optional, but let's see what's there. Okay. Okay, so this is like your styling for your body. So let's copy this as well. So this will replace your body here. So let's preview and see what it looks like. Check this. Let's run this on the live test and then see if it will come back with an error. Let's see. So I have welcome page, and what I'll just do is that in my live test, or no, in my redirect page, I'm going to, let's go back to our redirect for the login component. So come back here, click on the login, then go to properties. So change the redirect login to, instead of home page, you can come here and change it to welcome page. So whenever there's a successful login, you should come to welcome page. Whenever it's insufficient, that's whenever the permission is not granted, you should go to a different page. You can always change the pages, and you can see you can use a mixture of HTML pages, Alpha 5 pages in your settings. So let's do a live test now and see. One, two, three, four. Home page. No. Okay, you know what? I have two logins there, so I think there's a mix up. This new login, right? Let me see. Oh, okay, yeah. So on my login page, which login is there? I think I have this login on my login page. Yes. So you can see the control name that you are calling from the component. This is new login on the, okay, this is on the login page, right? So we are using the new login, not the login control. So let's go back to our web security and see. So you should navigate to welcome page. Okay, not on page. Let me even delete. Let's, okay. So here we'll do okay. Okay, so whenever you see this type of error, it's either the web page is not available or you are unable to access the web page. So it's, for some reasons, it's still coming to home page instead of welcome page, and this page is not available. So we need to, what I'll do is to create okay, so I'm going to, I'm going to refresh this by unchecking and checking this back, hoping that it would refresh. Right. Okay, so, okay. Okay. And let's take out this old component, delete this. Right. So let's test again. Test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then okay. Still redirecting to home page. So it's not picking up our new page for weird reasons. So usually what I'll do is just to recreate a new project. We can recreate a new project simply by coming to, okay, so this is for new component. If you want a new project, go to File, say New Project. So on my new project, I can set up my web security. New project. Okay, so you can create the project name. Or let me make this like a mobile app project. Let's create something interesting within the next 15 minutes. So mobile app project. So this is a fresh new project. Now on this project, we want to create a new security for it. So we are simply going to come to web security, right? And then I'm going to set up my security configuration, just like I did the other time. Now, another option to setting up the security configuration is for you to allow Alpha 5 to set it up automatically for you. So if you find it difficult to follow all the steps like I've mentioned, you can just use Alpha 5 quick setup. And the link is just here. Just click on the link. And it works just like a wizard. It's just going to ask you a few questions, and then it's to set up your security data and all that for you. So you can use sample users, right? You can use 5 or specify 2, depending on what you want. You can as well use email address or value. I always prefer the email address option. Then security groups. The essence of security groups is if you want a group of people to be able to access certain pages. For example, let's say you have administrators for your app, you have customer service for your app, and then you have super admin for your app. You can set those up as security groups. So let's say I have 3 security groups. Okay, let me assume I have 10 users and then 3 security groups. So that's the essence of these 2. Then you don't bother about this extended user information for now, but what it means is that when creating a new user, if you want them to put more information like their name, their address, and things like that, you can specify it under extended information. But just username and password is okay for now, right? So these are the things. Then you come here and say enable web security framework. So based on the request for sample, you can see how far anyway has created sample users for you. So instead of me creating users, I'm just going to use any of these users. But I can add my own user as well by using the new create account option. So this is it. Then just say close. Just do OK, and then it will create all the sample for you. So if you look at it now, it has created all the components that are needed for your user login. So I wanted to show you how to create it yourself before using a wizard. So if you are using a wizard, it's much more easy and straightforward. But you just need to know how to manipulate these things yourself. So it has created the users for you. For you to edit those users, you can go to web security again, then go to users and groups. Now you can see all the users it created. So I can come here and view and edit the groups that they belong to. I can even edit the group name. So if I want to edit the group name, I'll come here. So for each of this, I can say, okay, I want administrator. Okay, group 2, I want super admin. And I want it to do just. Then I want general users. So let's say, yeah, general users is fine. Okay, so from here you can click whatever groups that users belong to, right? Let's say I want so usually everyone should be a general user. So everybody is a general user. But for my super admin, I want just user 1, 2, 3. So the ones I uncheck will not be able to access those. Then for my, oh, okay, so for my super admin, I want only one person. Then for my general administrator, I want 1, 2, 3. Right, so you can tie users to a row. Super admin, I want just one. So you can make those changes from your users and group. So once you are done, you just say update. It will update the component settings. Right, so you can do that from your users and groups. Your login component is already created. So if you use the quick setup, you don't need to come and create a login component again because it has created it for you automatically. So let's say okay. So you just say close. Okay, so you can even preview these components that have been created for you. So you click on any one of the components. No. And you can preview and you can as well do it. Let's see. Let's preview our US components in the mobile. So let's click this and see what it looks like in the mobile. Right, so I'm just going to use any of the names. Oops, can I remember the name? Sorry, I need to pick any of the name and see. And user1alpha.com. Yeah. Okay. user1@alpha.com. So let me try to remember. So let's click on mobile option so it can display it for us. Okay, so user1@alpha.com. User1 alpha. I think that's password. Yeah. Okay. So can I create new user from here? Okay. So let's do do you want to save changes? Yes, please. What test? No. Okay, yeah. So when you use the wizard option, it also automatically creates login pages for you. Because you can't do a live test without your Alpha 5 pages. Your URL cannot connect directly to components. Your component must be embedded in pages for your URL to connect to it. So since you're unable to test the security option using the component preview, then we need to use a live test. So under your live test, just the same process, you pick your login page and it will connect you. So alpha, alpha is our one. Alpha. One alpha. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you see, you are able to log in, and this is the default page it created for us. In fact, if you want to create a simple application using Alpha 5 templates and its login, you can just go to this default page and edit the information that is there, the account settings, put in your components here. Okay, so let me do that quickly before I round off for today. Let's throw in our components into this web page. So this is the default web page that's created for you. And this is the, if you go to your web security, for you to confirm, go to security configuration, you'll see the redirect page, right? So this is the redirect page, and the page after login, this is the redirect page after login. Oh, okay, I see. I think I was making a mistake in the default, whatever. This is where we should have changed that home page to welcome page. It should have been under login options. So you change the home page to welcome page here. So the beauty of Alpha 5 is that you can create very interesting, complex applications without knowing how to code, but you just need to get familiar with the environment and all the menu options in it. And once you get a good hold of it, you'll be able to do very, very interesting applications, both simple and complicated ones with Alpha anyway. So we want to throw in our components into this Alpha 5 web page, which would be loaded after login. So let's do that. You double click on it to open up the page, right? So do not delete anything you see here because these are auto-generated code for your tab UI. So what you just do, you come down and you insert your component. So, okay, so we need to create the grid component. So let's create a grid component and insert it in. Use changes. No. Save and close. So let's come here to components. Let's create a new component that we want to insert in. We can even insert it into our tab UI from here. So under tab UI here, no. Okay, so your tab UI is like your panel for your web application. So you can see it helps you to arrange controls on your web application using frames. So if you want to see what it looks like right now, just click on preview. Right, so this is your tab UI. You can from here change the text. I can change the header text from here. login control button. Okay. Button. Try log out button. Sorry, let me just quickly change my connection. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma.
ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, because I think I lost connection for some time. Um, I'm looking for the components in the tab UI, and then the change, then so that we can make changes to it. So this is frame one, frame two. Okay, you know what? I'm going to add a new frame, and I'll see how it shows up. So frames are containers. So you just add a new frame. You can give it any name. Insert after. So within your frame, you can insert controls, button list, and the rest of that. You can even insert, let's see, let's just put in static information to see what, then come here. Oh, okay, so the frame comes here. Okay, so I want to put it into mm, Which of this connects to a page, right? Okay, so let me create a new UI control and let's look at it together. You want to save changes? No. So under web components, let's go to new web components. Next, tab UI builder. Next. So your tab UI control. This is blank. And then this is the tab UI properties. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the header. I think I was looking for this. Let's put in an header and see. Okay. Okay, so we set this from the properties. Okay, so let's just create. You want to say, okay, so let's come back to our master tab UI and then let's change the properties there. So come to tab UI properties. Enter your header text here. Oh, okay, that's the default that was showing here as well. Okay, so we're going to make changes to this and also call a new page from our tab UI control. So with your tab UI control, you can link up several pages together. So I can call this let's say I'm creating a web application for a logistic company. So the name of the company and the logo, I can put it in here as the header. I can say okay, so this will form my header. I can also create a footer. Then there's a default page that it logs to, and that is specified here. So this is the home page for the tab UI. I can change it from home to, let's say, about us, right? So all of these changes, you can make them without writing a single line of code. Right, so this is the title. You can put a picture alongside with it that shows like the logo. So this is the introduction to the web application. So here you can throw in information about the company. Then here they can click logout, right, to leave the page. Then here I can put in different settings for my application, different menu. Let's say my services, the services, the different menus that you can find on web applications. So, and as you click, you can see each of them comes up here with the details. So I'm going to stop here today. You have learned today about how to create login to your application, which can be used both on mobile and on web application. You have also learned about we refresh our memories on panel for mobile applications. And the same way a panel is to mobile application, you can as well use Tab UI to organize your web pages for a web application. Then we have also seen how to do a remote test, right? Either using our own local machine or testing within our own IP. But if you want to test, if you want to host it, you would need something like, so you can just Google and say Alpha Anywhere hosting options. Let's call this web hosting options. Yeah. So or you can come to Alpha deployment. I'm not sure you can host it on Azure. No, I'm not very sure of that, but I know of Zebra hosting that you can host it on. Yeah, let me just pick up for SAISP, where you can host the application so that is available for everyone. Okay, let's see Alpha Anywhere documentation for it. Zebra hosting. Yeah, so you can see Zebra hosting allows Alpha Anywhere hosting, but of course, before you do that, you already have a payment plan. And you can read up on the hosting documentation from Alpha Anywhere as well. Alpha Anywhere also has a hosting plan. They call it Alpha Cloud, with which you can host your application to be available online. But this requires some subscriptions and some licensing as well. But for you to just do a test or a test within your own IP, you can do that free on Alpha Anywhere. So that's that for today's class. I would want you to extend your application, your test application into, as in extend it to create a login component on it, and then extend it to also create something for local use. So you could just think of, let's say you could just create an application, let's say for a logistic company or something like a transport company. So you want to show like the list of their buses or the list of their services. So when people click on it, they can then see more details about their services, or they can even book a service. You understand? So a simple application that can be available both on web and on mobile, right, using Alpha Anywhere. And then you can demo that to me on Saturday when we meet. before we wrap up on Alpha Anyway. So in our next class next week, we'll meet again on Saturday. By Saturday, I'll create a slide ready for you and share with you on Saturday. And then we'll also revise what we're able to come up with. I'll answer questions and I'll make corrections in any way you need guidance. Then next week, Thursday, we're going to start off with something new. That one is much more simpler, but it's a chatbot is also very interesting. How to create chatbot application. Chatbot is a conversational application that people can interact with. So you interact with a chatbot by asking questions and then it answers the question based on answers or details that you have embedded in that chatbot. This one also, you are going to do it without writing code. So, and I promise it's going to be very, very useful. In fact, a lot of people use chatbot for many things. You can use it for customer service management, like people interact with chatbots just like they're interacting with the customer service. People also interact with chatbots to gain information, right? So chatbots are really, really very, very useful. So we're going to do that. We're starting off with that next week. The aim of this training is to ensure that you are able to acquire a life skill. What I mean by a life skill is that a skill that you can use to develop something that people can use and feel. You understand? And once you are able to automate any of these things, then you become more relevant. And this is part of what AI is meant for, right? Because in automating these things, you are putting your own intelligence into a software, into an application. These things are so complicated that developers, software engineers, they spend hours writing codes for it. But there are platforms that are available now that welcomes people who do not even know how to code, right? To be able to use this platform and also create the same level of intelligence, right? So with Alpha Anywhere, there are some other applications too like that, but I chose Alpha Anywhere for this training because it's very robust, and with Alpha Anywhere you can do a lot of things, but just get more familiar, practice more. Then there's somewhere you can also check Alpha Anywhere App Gallery. So if you look at Alpha Anywhere App Gallery, yeah, you'll find various sample applications. I'll throw this in the chat now. So these are various sample simple applications that people have created using Alpha Anywhere. So let me use this one. Very simple, 2 or 3 panels. So, okay, so it's just 2 panels. So look at this mobile app. This mobile app was created by a school to verify that students are vaccinated before they gain entrance into school. So let me expand this. So if you look at the app, it's just 2 panels, and in the first panel, you put in your student name or number, you answer yes or no to the question. On submitting, it verifies if you are cleared to return to school or not. So this is a simple, so instead of people filling in paper information, this mobile app was created to do that. And I think on Alpha Gallery, they also put in videos on how you can create the same application step by step. Or if you go to the Alpha webinar site, you see more on that. So this will be all on Alpha Anywhere software. It's an interesting app, but it has a lot of menus and options that you need to get familiar with a lot of practice. So I hope you enjoyed the class. I'm going to stop here.
A question.
Yeah, someone wants to ask a question.
Hello, ma.
Thank you, you're welcome.
My question is that the chatbot you are talking about, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, the chatbot you are talking about, are we going to use different software or we are using Alpha Anywhere?
Oh, no, we are using a different software. It's not Alpha Anywhere. Alpha Anywhere is not used for chatbot.
Okay. Are you going to send it to us, or we don't need to install anything on our system?
Oh, okay. So for that one, we are not going to install anything. It's a cloud-based development chatbot. So you are just going to create a login into that environment.
Okay.
So you are not going to install.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome. Any question on Alpha Anywhere so far? Or maybe when you practice and you encounter any challenge?
Yeah, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to ask that if it happens that I build a particular app using the app, so and I've deployed the app as well. Throughout the whole process, would there be any need for me to make any payments or any other thing from the building to deployment?
Okay, great question. Yeah, I heard you. So I think I answered this question in the class, but let me just mention it again. So from the building to the remote test deployment, you're not going to pay any money, as in it's free. You understand? And even this remote test, others can test it on their mobile app or on their laptop as well. You just send them the URL. So you are going to use the remote test building for it. You understand?
Yes.
But if you now want it to be available as an app, like for example, like the one you download on Google Play, or that anybody can use a URL link to access, then you need to have a hosting domain. You need to host it with any of these popular domain sites. Yeah. So that's the difference.
Okay.
And that one will incur some cost. But remember, we have a competition on this training project. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to interesting things that you guys can come up with. So it can be with the chatbot, can be with Alpha 5. But what is the idea that you want to develop and create into a solution? You understand? So these are some of the things you can look at. Okay, how can I use Alpha 5 to create something for local idea, right? And it will make sense such that anybody is even willing to pay for it. You understand? If we have something that is what one is a great idea and all that, why not? We're going to host it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Yes, ma'am. But a question.
Yeah, go on.
If as in what you just said now about the quiz, as in the competition.
Yeah.
Are you giving us? Are you the one that will give us the question? Because I don't understand. As in, how I understand what you say now is like that we are the one to bring an idea.
I'm not giving you any question. You're going to develop an idea, a product, a solution, whatever you that appeals to you, that you feel that, oh, okay, it's just like a cooking competition, and you're all going to come up with your own recipe. So you come up with your own idea and develop it into a solution, and the panel will look at it and listen to your idea, the problem you want to solve. Remember our first class we had, that webinar class, talking about AI and the importance of AI, right? So now you are now going to productize your AI. What you have learned is to acquire skills on how you can build products that are AI driven, artificial intelligence driven. So now you are now going to build a product yourself. So even in the class, I'm not trying to build a product for you. I'm just trying to show you how to use the controls, how to use the menus, so that you can think creatively of a product and build a product. Is it clear?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Another question. That project, that competition, will it be? Can we just take, this training now is based on three different things.
Yeah.
Now, can we just pick any of the section and work on, as in, for this section, this is the section I take, or we must bring an idea based on each section?
Oh, okay, great question. So the idea you are bringing up is your own idea, and you can use any of the skills that you have acquired in this training to develop a product for it. So you can decide to develop a web application product or a mobile application product using Alpha 5, or a chatbot application, which you will learn in the next 2 classes, or you want to come up with data analysis and insights, which you will learn using Python and some other no-code application platform in the next class.
Okay.
Yeah. Daniel, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the class so far. Thanks for your presentation and everything.
You're welcome.
I want to ask a forehand, like, most of the apps that we've been building are mostly data-based. Is there any possibility that this alpha also, or the other classes will include one that someone can sign up and post his own service also?
I'm not clear on your question.
Like let's say I want to do something. Can I also, let's say I sell some products, or something, or I have a service to render. Is there a way of building an app with this alpha software, or is it only for database and record collection?
Oh, okay. So the service you have, does it run on some data?
Yes, the service. Oh my God! Sorry for the dog's noises. The service I have, more like creating a platform that joins service of people that render service and people that need services, kind of together.
So you can create a database for those services.
Okay.
Remember, or you can create you can create it into tables, right? Using any of the database platforms that Alpha Anywhere can connect to. I think I did that with you guys on Saturday, showing you how to create tables and putting data into those tables using SQL.
Yes.
database.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma, you
so
did that.
that's what you do. You create the data into it, and you just simply connect the Alpha 5 web application to
Oh,
your data source.
oh yeah.
Is it clear?
Yes, you're right, ma. You're right. I didn't think of it that way. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome. So, in absence of any other question, I think we're going to end the class now. We have done 2 hours and some minutes. So we'll see again on Saturday for a revision and a look through on what you have been able to come up with so far on Alpha Anywhere. But before then, feel free to reach out on the WhatsApp platform to ask questions or to give updates on how far you are going on with Alpha Anywhere. Alpha Anywhere is a very powerful and interesting application. I think it's a very good skill to have. We've done just practice, but with a lot of practice, you'll be able to do a lot much more with Alpha Anywhere. Okay, so thanks. We'll see you on Saturday. Saturday evening. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye bye everyone.
Thank you.